Hello.
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
Hey, did you hear about that peanut shaped French fry?
No.
It was really bossy. He was a real dictator. Welcome back, you effing nerds.
Welcome.
What's up?
How you doing?
How's the family? How's the kids? How's your mother-in-law that you don't like? How is she? How's ever? Not you, Ron. I mean in general. Like the royal people out there. How are you, folks?
I think they're good.
You think they're good?
I think they're just giving us, the usual. When you ask someone on the street, like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're like, "Yeah, good."
Yeah, they're usually lying though.
Yeah, I'm actually one of those people that when you say that to me, and depending on my mood, I'll be like, really shitty.
I usually go, ain't dead yet. That's what I usually say.
That usually works too.
That's what I usually say. Well, people are probably doing okay. It's hot time summer in the city.
Hot time summer in the city.
Big boob sweat under your old ass titty, isn't that?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Is that how it goes, or?
Well, I'm Ron.
I'm not Ron. I'm Craig.
And welcome to the Untitled Movie Pass.
The Untitled Movie Pass?
Oh, Untitled Movie Cast. Untitled. I don't even know the name.
The Untitled Movie Podcast with Ron.
And Craig.
Yes. Welcome, folks, to another. We both have 2 kids now. Unedited, raw.
Oh, yeah.
Better go back and download a better episode of the show, folks. Because this shit is unedited. It is like that video that your parents take of you getting ready for prom when your fly's open, everybody can kind of see one of your balls, and like your date's dress is askew because you're trying to do each other hand stuff before you came downstairs. It's that version of a podcast, folks. It's the one you don't want your kids hearing because it sucks.
Yep.
So with that said, enjoy listening. Today, we're just gonna do it. We like we said, I'm not gonna keep explaining ourselves. Someday, maybe our quality will go back up, but I'm pretty sure our quality is not that high to begin with, and it's not that low right now because we're still happy to talk.
Yeah.
We just don't feel like editing stuff anymore because it takes too much damn time.
Yeah. And Craig has been training me, so I really have less time because I've been going to the gym.
Ron's out there working out. He's pumping iron. All right.
Yep.
Speaking of which.
Hey, isn't that kind of the movie we're talking about today? Iron Man?
Well, not, yeah, I would say Pumping Iron. It's a totally different movie, but.
No.
Yes, we're talking about Iron Man, but back to Pumping Iron. We should watch that someday.
Someday.
Craig
actually, Craig had a surgery a few years ago, and he said upon his death, and he gave me the book. I think I gave it back to him. I was to read Arnold Schwarzenegger's what
Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding.
Yeah. Upon Craig's death, I have to read that.
Yes, because it's important. That's where I learned all this. That's how it all started. And Pumping Iron. We're gonna do Pumping Iron someday. I'm gonna make Ron watch it, and we're gonna do Pumping Iron. But today, we're talking about the movie that started it all, folks.
It's kind of similar. It's kind of funny that you talk about Pumping Iron because doesn't he have fights with Lou Ferrigno in the movie? Who played the Hulk? Isn't that Arnold Schwarzenegger's longtime feud was with Lou Ferrigno?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I see.
The Hulk, which is a Marvel.
Yes.
This is now a podcast about a Marvel movie.
Yes.
We are the same height.
Segway. Yeah, folks. Iron Man. Whatever. It's the first Marvel movie, like the first real one, the first Marvel movie proper. F-Blade, F and X-Men. With their goofy what are you supposed to wear? Yellow suits? Shut up with your dumb leather. With your Matrix ripoff fucking leather suits. This is the movie that started the fucking MCU, folks.
Yeah.
The movie that so we if you're a loyal listener to the show, which apparently we have more of now.
We're getting some people listening.
People starting to show up, and we ask all of you who like the show, give us some iTunes reviews. But anyway, if you're a loyal listener to the show, we recently we hit up some Endgame. We did our first ever new movie.
Yep.
Because we love the MCU so much, and so now we're going back to the beginning. We decided let's go back to the
we'll start throwing out some MCU movies every now.
Little MCU for that uterus of yours,
if I was standing up, I'd do the MC Hammer side dance.
MC uterus, yes.
The shuffle.
The shuffle.
The shuffle.
What the fuck is a shiffle?
You shuffle.
That
Like
sounds
a sniffle, but you shuffle. You don't do it. You half-ass a shuffle, so you shuffle.
that sounds like something someone from the Midwest calls some sort of weird bodily function. Like, oh, that's a shiffle if I ever heard one.
Probably.
That's when you poop your pants while you're sniffling. A shiffle.
It is now.
So I'll tell you who doesn't shiffle. Robert Downey Jr.
No.
Because fuck, man, is he good in this movie? And let's just get into it, man. Jon Favreau directed it. He took the helm. This movie sat in. If you had to, we've all fucking seen Iron Man. If you've seen Iron Man, you don't need to really go over the plot like we always say. If it's easy to look back now and look at all these movies. 11 years later, 23 films in. Now that they're done with the first, phase 1, 2, and 3, the first big chunk of them with Endgame. It's easy to look back and think like, oh yeah, this was, of course, the Marvel movies. Like, there's kids now, the 18-year-olds of the world who are loving Endgame. They didn't know what was going on back then.
No, we didn't know.
Yeah, they
no
didn't
one knew
understand
what was going to happen.
Yeah, they didn't understand that when this movie was created, when this movie started, no one saw this shit coming. We went and saw it in theater, like, oh shit, there's an Iron Man where we have to go. But
I didn't even see it in the theater.
You didn't? I really?
Yeah, I saw it on a bootleg. Like after, I think I got Hulk and this on a bootleg. I watched it.
Like the kind of like the bootleg you get from the lady with the rolling cart that sells bootleg movies and porn.
Go. You want CD DVD?
Yeah, that lady.
Yeah, no.
That lady. Yes.
You want Boom Boom?
Yeah,
that sells the porno.
That's
too?
how I used to buy when we were younger. That's how you bought your porno.
Yeah.
You went down the junkyard. You waited for the lady to come by, and you'd go, "Hey, got any porn in there?" And she'd go, "Yep, I do." You had to ask. Porn wasn't out. First they try to sell you the bootleg movie.
Yeah.
And then it's weird. They try to sell you the illegal thing first.
Yep.
And then they sell you the legal thing second. But yeah, back in the day, we didn't know this would be a thing. Everyone is still like, "Oh, cool, they're making an Iron movie finally." Like these movies sat in development hell forever. Yeah. Like, and they had made Spider-Man movies had come out.
The funny part is, Marvel made such a universe using their B squad. Essentially, like Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Thor. Those are like their B squad.
I'd argue.
X-Men, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Those are eventually Spider-Man came in. Fantastic. Like, those were the bigger comics.
Yeah, I'd argue that the Avengers,
Well, the Avengers as a whole, but I'm talking about you started. Everyone was an Avenger in the Marvel universe.
Put it this way: I can very confidently say that most people, up until recently, when you said, "Who are your favorite superheroes?" If they're Marvel people, it was an X-Men, or it was an X-Man or woman, or it was a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No one fucking gave a shit about Iron Man. Yeah, right. People like Captain America. He's been around forever, but no one was like, "Oh, a big Captain America guy."
Yeah.
And Hulk. I'd say Hulk.
Hulk was big.
Hulk's been
was
pretty
a big
popular.
one.
Thor, no one gave a fuck about Thor. No one gave a shit about Black Widow.
Except for that
Hulk.
girl in Adventures in Babysitting.
Exactly. And she was just hanging out with Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Who looks nothing like, as an adult now, you look back, he looked nothing like Thor. But anyway, Hawkeye, all these people, no one cared. I have a fucking Hawkeye tattoo at this point. That's how far Hawkeye's come. But, when this came out, it was off the heels of Spider-Man movies, which Spider-Man movies made a ton of money. Yeah. But by the third one, no one gave a fuck. It made a bunch of money. It was terrible.
Really crappy.
And like, to me, I'm a diehard Spider-Man guy. I have multiple Spider-Man tattoos.
Yeah.
My kids' middle names are freaking Peter and Miles after Spider-Man's. Even I haven't rewatched one of those movies ever. I've watched Homecoming probably 5 times since it came out a couple years ago. I've never rewatched the original ones. The other 2 that came out around this time, the Sony ones, I never rewatched after watching them once. Just don't give. They never did it right. This was the first movie that felt, even like I said, more so than Spider-Man, was like a comic book. Yeah. It just had that feeling, and that's because Jon Favreau walked in and just gave a shit, and apparently no one else gave a shit because they let him do whatever he wanted.
Well,
right?
The script wasn't even completed.
Explain.
When they started filming, the script was incomplete, so they had everyone basically improving their lines. I think it said Robert Downey Jr. actually would constantly ask for retakes just to do a line over. Not that he didn't like it, but just to see what could happen. And Gwyneth Paltrow was getting frustrated because she couldn't keep up.
Sounds very Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm not a big Gwyneth Paltrow fan. She's one of those famous people that gives out random bad health advice because she's super rich, and she's like, you know what you should really do is just, ladies, if you want to lose weight, just you take a little lemon and you put in some water and you freeze it and you have a delicious treat. You can eat 7 of those a day and 1 Mento, and you're fine. You're fine. It's like, no, that's not how life works, Gwyneth Paltrow. But yeah, RDJ came into this not with much of a career behind him at that point already. Like he had
really Sherlock.
He was Sherlock
big
before this.
Yeah, I think it was.
You sure?
I think so. I don't know. We'll get back to
Your
that.
phone's closer to you. Goo, goo, goo.
We'll get back to it. No
It's already started. It's already. Goo, goo, goo.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The race is on.
Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo.
Okay, Iron Man, I believe.
Goo, goo.
Iron Man came out first, yes.
Goo, goo.
I already answered it. You could stop the music. Stop the music!
Goo, goo. Yeah. So, yeah, he came into this. Apparently, Favreau saw Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is fucking wonderful. And that was really RDJ's comeback, was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But it didn't.
Yeah.
That movie went over. As wonderful as that movie is, as much as that movie as I think is aged perfectly, and it's developed more and more of a cult following over the years, that movie went out like a fucking wet fart. No one gave a shit about that movie.
Yeah.
I'm the only person I know who saw that movie in the theaters.
I did not. I saw it on video.
Yeah. I went and saw it in the theater and was like, this movie's awesome. And then no one cared. It was in the theaters for like a week. Didn't make any money. But Favreau saw it and said, if I've heard correctly, probably from another podcast, for being honest, Favreau was the one who said when they were trying to cast, they were figuring out who's going to play Iron Man, they were reading, they had Sam Rockwell reading, right? They had like fucking Timothy Olyphant, I think, read. He's the one who said, we should call Robert Downey Jr. Like, I don't know, maybe, isn't he kind of a fucking mess? Because he was coming off, up until like 2003, 2004, still a legit drug addict,
Yeah.
So, people were still sleeping on him because he was so talented, but he had fallen so far. And then they also Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. They're like, you know what? Let's give him a call. Let's see let's see. And he ended up knocking it out and took this part. And now, it's easy. I think it's an easy argument to make. I think we said in the other episode, the entire MCU has basically been the Iron Man and Captain America story.
Yeah, that's why it ended.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Endgame.
The overarching. Again, if you haven't seen Endgame, stop listening. And also, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you're listening, if you care about Marvel movies enough to listen to a podcast made by
especially our podcast,
yeah, exactly. We're a fucking obscure show here, folks. Let's call a spade a spade. We're not liars. If you're obsessed enough to listen to us talk about it, you should have seen Endgame by now. Something seriously, but the fact that
you would have heard about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone spoiled it by now. He dies and he at the end of Endgame, he croaks and that's the big death at the end of Endgame. Like I said, it's easy to argue that the entire MCU is his story. And this is really where it starts, obviously, because it's the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah. And even at the end of it, the end scene credits, or end credit scene, as you will. I'm just not talking very well tonight.
Hey, you're doing a terrible job of words, sir.
Is Nick Fury talking about the Avengers initiative.
Oh, the original Easter egg.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you a little piece of trivia that the IMDb doesn't have, that I've figured out on my own.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who is the first person, not chronologically, on screen, in the MCU to get punched by a superhero?
The first person to be punched by a superhero. In this MCU?
Yeah, in the MCU. In the entire MCU, first person to get punched by a superhero.
I don't know.
Tom fucking Morello of Rage Against the Machine is the first not the Taliban guy to come through the door and get punched in the face by Iron Man in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
We're actually not even at almost the end of the first act.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something else. I don't remember liking this movie as much as I do. Like, it's funny. When Endgame came out, I think we mentioned this on the Endgame episode. If you want to listen to a better show, go listen to Kevin Smith on I think it was Smodcast talked about, or he's decided to do a cast himself, whatever it was, or maybe Fat Man on Batman is his other show where he did it. Went out and just some of the internet has shit on him because people like to shit on Kevin Smith despite the fact he's more talented than any of us and is responsible for most of the stuff we like. He's one of the catalysts for that existing, but whatever. We'll just tell the guy go fuck himself because he made a couple movies people didn't like. That's fine, right? That's how the world works. Kevin Smith gushingly went on about Endgame, rightfully so, and I agree totally with what he said. I also cried multiple times in that movie. Fuck everyone who didn't. He was like, an Iron Man, all these callbacks to Iron Man, how great it was, and I was like, fuck, I remember not liking Iron Man that much.
I liked it, but I think this movie, to truly appreciate it, you've had to have watched some of the MCU.
Maybe like
watching
hindsight.
Yeah, watching it with not knowing what's coming, not knowing anything about the future. You look at it, it's like, okay, it's another origin story, but yeah, oh, all right. I don't see it. Like, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
I saw it like after halfway through, after like the first Avengers, then you can go back, and I appreciated it better after the first Avengers.
Yeah, I literally hadn't seen it. I saw it once when it came out, maybe once when it came out on DVD. I watched it again, and wasn't in love with it. And I sat down and rewatched it. Got halfway through, was like, this movie's fucking awesome. And college was like, we need to do Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it again. I realized this movie's wonderful. And maybe it's like you said, maybe having now the ability to use hindsight and look at it as part of a greater thing and not just on its own.
Yeah.
Because you can never look at it again as standing on its own, because it just can't. It doesn't have to. And it's like, I don't.
It's the beginning of a story.
Yeah, like, I don't care if stuff stands on it. I'm such a completist that I don't really give a shit if things stand on their own. Like, if, someone will be like, oh, the fourth movie in that series really doesn't stand on its own. It's the fourth out of fifth 5 movies. Of course it doesn't fucking stand on its own. You're telling an overarching story.
Yeah.
It's like asking, it's, these movies are meant to be serialized. That was the goal they had in mind. And this does actually stand on its own.
It does, but I think...
But it doesn't need to. That's the point. And watching it again, it's fucking awesome. It's a great origin story. It's there's no fat on it. The movie just fucking goes. It happens fast.
When I first watched this, because like I said, I watched Hulk and Iron Man back to back on bootlegs. And you kind of, with most series, like especially, how do I put it? With comic book movies, I now expect them to fail. And, okay, you've dragged me through, and now, like the new Spider-Mans. After the second Spider-Man, I was like, oh my God, they're going to bring back the Sinister Six. It's all this. And nothing. Sony just scrapped it. So now I didn't want to get invested in this.
You mean cool Spider-Man?
Yeah. I didn't want to get invested too much in this because I figured Marvel wouldn't succeed. And it would just scrap the rest of the movies. I'm so happy they didn't.
I like to look at the old Spider-Mans as not Spider-Man, cool Spider-Man, and fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In that order. So, just so you know. Yeah, it really does such a good job of of being that first block in this series. Like you said, down to the first Easter egg with Nick Fury showing up at the end, down to just the little hints of world building, like the guy being the 10 rings and mentions of the Mandarin. When you if you translate, I don't know if you could even hear it, but I know it's like something translated. You could hear them say the Mandarin, shit like that. Just that little tiny view of there being a larger world at play. I think people got. I imagine that's what really got them to do it. I'm sure Favreau said he wanted to do it. He said, imagine if we can do this. Imagine we could start right here and make a whole universe out of these things. And he gets no credit.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see him get a couple of nice moments in Endgame, because he deserves so much fucking credit for what ended up happening in these movies, and being a guy who, Favreau has a pretty good name to trade on. And he was like, fuck it, let's do Iron Man. And he came out, and like I said, he dragged RDJ out of the gutter and fucking stuck him in there. And these guys really dragged this, this universe to life on their backs. But it did such a good job of setting everything up, and did such a good job of whetting everybody's appetite, and then creating that buzz of people going like, oh shit, maybe there's an event, maybe there'll be an Avengers movie. And they still didn't think they'd be able to do it after this. It was like pipe dream stuff. It was like, cool, we'll try this.
Yeah, you have to now get everyone wanting to go see these other characters, and what characters can we use? Who do we have the rights to? Who don't we have the rights to?
I'll tell you this much. The only reason, I've only seen it once, the only reason I saw the Incredible Hulk movie was because someone told me that freaking Robert Downey Jr. pops up, and I was like, I remember being like, what? And they were like, yeah, he talks, it's like Iron Man comes, it shows. I was like, oh my God. And I went and saw it. I didn't like it, but I went and watched it. I'm going to try to rewatch it at some point.
I liked it. The problem I have is it's not so much of an origin story. Kind of like comes in halfway, you know.
I mean, I don't always mind that because you've seen. I feel like we've seen Hulk's origin story so many times.
Well, we did. Like I was always hoping because I liked the Hulk with Eric Bana. I don't think you did.
I did not.
Yeah, I think we saw that together.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
Yeah,
but he.
I was always hoping that was the first one, but we're obviously wrong.
Yes.
But because it's an origin story, you see that and you're like, oh, okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, not to crap on someone more talented than me like I like to normally, but I will. I think the other problem with the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, which we won't ever do on the show, I imagine, unless someone requests something, somebody, is Ed Norton is one of the most talented actors of the whole of our generation, who doesn't always give a fuck. And like when Samuel L. Jackson shows up for a paycheck, you still get fucking Samuel L. Jackson, and like you can pay Samuel L. Jackson $3 million to do a fucking Japanese yogurt commercial, and he'll be like, "Oh my goshi, best yogurt I ever fucking tasted, bitch," and you'll be like, "That's it." Like Samuel L. Jackson shows up. You can give Ed Norton $20 million to do, and he'll show up and do something he doesn't want, but he's gonna be like, "Yeah, and Cobra Commander, please die." Like he's like that's how Ed Norton is. That was the whole shtick with the Italian Job. He didn't want to be there. He apparently didn't want to be there for the Hulk. Like, dude likes to sign up for stuff and then not want to do it, and actually like, whatever. It's his business, not mine. Because the guy, like, you sit through a movie like Birdman, and you're like, oh my god, you're talented. Or you sit through Fight Club and you're like, holy shit, you're the greatest actor ever. And then you sit, you watch Incredible Hulk and you're like, oh, that guy. It's like if someone hired you you're a plumber and you don't want to work on someone's house, their toilet should still fucking work. Like, yeah. And Ed Norton's very willing to let you have water leak all over your floor and have shit coming out of the pipes. You know what I mean? So whatever. Let's leave Ed Norton alone. But yeah, what else? It's obviously, we're only 20 minutes in, so it's not like we're done. But like, what else can we say about this movie? Let's go. Let's fucking give me some info. Give me some thoughts.
Well, let's talk about the cast.
Yeah, I mean,
let's talk about Rhodey.
Well, Rhodey is
Terrence Howard.
Rhodey is an example of what to do. I'm ranting a little more than usual tonight, folks. Ron looks tired. Rhodey is just an example of. Again, I'm not crap on someone more talented than me. I've heard different rumors. What have you heard about Terrence Howard in this movie?
I haven't really heard much about him. I personally, not a big fan of Terrence Howard. I was very happy with the change.
I mean, Don Cheadle is pretty much a better actor than everyone.
And just to go on every show I do, you know what show what Don Cheadle was on that was a big show for him? Picket Fences.
Oh, Christ.
He was the DA in Picket Fences. All right, let's continue with Terrence Howard. Yeah, I haven't really heard much about him. I'm just not a big fan of him.
If I'm ever given a bunch of plutonium by some Libyans, and I decide to give them a suitcase full of used pinball machine parts and use that plutonium to make myself a time machine, I'm going to go back in time and give Tom Skerritt a different fucking script for a different fucking show and make sure Picket Fences never existed.
Well, then you probably wouldn't have shows like Ally McBeal, Boston Public, whatever David E. Kelly, I believe that's his name, did. That was like his big thing.
I'm gonna give you a little
Costas Mandylor. Lauren Holly. Without that, where would Lauren Holly be? Would she be in Dumb and Dumber? I don't think so.
I'm gonna give you a little comparison.
Holly Marie Combs. Do we have Charmed then? No.
I'm gonna give you a bit of a
Five-ish Finkel. Come on, he's an American gem.
Imagine if
Ray Watson.
Imagine if
My Martian.
If you said to me, "Hey, Craig, let's get a time machine and eliminate Hitler," and I was like, "Yeah, but without Hitler, we wouldn't have Saddam Hussein or Mussolini."
Are you comparing Picket Fences to Hitler?
Or Muammar Gaddafi or the Ayatollah Khomeini?
Are you comparing Picket Fences to Hitler?
I'm just saying, like, your argument was if without Picket Fences, you wouldn't have shitty show, thing I don't give a fuck about, shitty show. Like,
Costas Mandylor.
Okay, which one's the one from Necessary Roughness?
That's his brother.
Exactly. The fuck do I care then? You're talking about the guy that was in like Saw 17. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sure he's a nice man. I'm sure he would have found work otherwise. Lauren Holly was gorgeous and talented. She would have been fine. Tom Skerritt, Dallas, whatever. He died in fucking Alien. Spoiler alert. Like, whatever, bro. What are they doing? All I remember about that show is that one line. I know what they're doing. Fuck that show. Anyway.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. I remember when Terrence Howard was casting this, he was coming off Hustle and Flow, which I've never seen. But I've heard nothing but amazing things about his performance in it. And everything else I've ever seen Terrence Howard in, he's very good. But I'll say a couple things. One, I felt like he was too subdued. He's like almost too cool to be Rhodey, because Rhodey, like, he was like just too subdued. But thing two was, I think behind the scenes, I think he was kind of trouble. That's what I've always heard, is that he was kind of a pain in the ass behind the scenes. I don't know. I don't have any connections. I just remember hearing this on the news. I'm sure he's a nice dude. I remember being not even a pain in the ass, but just kind of being, when sequel time came around, kind of complained like he's not getting enough money, because in the first one he was the highest paid actor on set.
Was he?
Apparently, because RDJ took, if I remember correctly, the reason Robert Downey Jr. is so rich is
he took back end cuts.
He took all the back end because they were like, Favreau, you can't give Robert Downey Jr. money. He's going to show up to set high. And Favreau's like, no, he's going to do it. They're like, fine, we'll give him back end points, and he's not going to pay him any money, basically. And he was like, yep, let's do it. And RDJ was like, joke's on you, dickheads. I don't do drugs anymore. Whoops, I'm one of the most talented actors ever. Look at me. And showed up and knocked to the park. So by the time number 2 came around, I think Terrence Howard was kind of like, hey, what the fuck, man, where am I? Like, pay me. And they want to pay him. So I think he talked himself out of the role. Yeah. And then he said he wasn't happy with it.
I think the role was better off without him.
I think, I don't think he did a bad job.
I don't think he has the energy. Like
that's too subdued. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, and it's hard to complain, like he said, because it's fucking Don Cheadle replaced him. Like, it's like if your girlfriend breaks up with you and some supermodel's like, you want to date? You're like, oh no. Like it sucks. And no, Terrence Howard's gone on to, he's a big television career. I can only assume he'll end up back in. He's a talented dude. He'll be back in movies when he feels like it. And that Empire show's a fucking juggernaut. He's getting paid $1 gazillion an episode to do that shit.
I can't stand that show. I watched one episode. I did not like it. I don't actually understand
what's going on. I'm not into the hip hop music industry that much.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of it. I watched the first episode and then
Taraji
maybe it gets better. Maybe
talented broad. So,
All right. So, besides Terrence Howard, who else is in this? Jeff Bridges, who I think plays an amazing villain.
He's awesome. I mean, he's Jeff Bridges. Like, he's awesome in everything. I'll say you see a lot of his chest hair in this movie.
You do. You do see an abnormal amount of chest hair.
There's that one scene when he calls him on the video phone.
Yes.
And he's like laying in bed. It looks like he's trying to seduce somebody. Every time I see this movie, I'm like, Wyatt. Like, that's such a strange choice. He just looks like
he's taking pictures in his bed right now.
Like, yeah, he looks like the moment they hung up, he like turned around. There was multiple concubines or courtesans with him, and about to do some, weird hang himself in the closet and touch himself shit. Like, it was a weird. That's a weird choice. But other than that, I mean, he's Jeff Bridges. He rocked it. He was apparently uncomfortable though too, right? Because they were ad-libbing so much shit, and he said he didn't like having.
I think so.
He didn't like being. He wasn't used to showing up and not knowing his lines.
Yeah.
But apparently something to the effect of like, once he realized it was a $200 million student film, he said he was just like, fuck it, let's rock. Like, and he's Jeff Bridges. He's a consummate pro.
Yeah.
He's gonna show, again. He's one of those people. He's an older school actor. He's gonna show up and do whatever you ask him to do. He does great, and he really works. Watching it again, he's just such a good villain. You almost wish he would have stuck around.
I would have liked to. I would have liked to see them. Obviously, their big bad villain that they had was Thanos throughout the whole thing, but I would have liked to see like Shredder. So, like, if you want to talk about like Ninja Turtles, like a villain that's always there, that's always trying to one up them.
Kevin Nash, Shredder, Super Shredder,
Super Shredder, yes.
Diesel from Pro Wrestling.
Yes, I want Diesel.
Hold on, so you wanted like Diesel and Razor Ramon, or just Diesel?
Well, you have to have both of them.
Like, so you're like the outsiders, Nash and Hall. So you want Iron Man 2? You're saying hypothetically to have been Nash and Hall, surprise appearance by Hulk Hogan. Spoiler alert: third member of the NWO.
It doesn't have to be like that, but like how they have Hammer Industries supposedly in Iron Man they're always against
of
Hammer
course.
Industries.
Yeah, Joel Justin Hammer's in the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they
Real
only
piece of
had him
shit,
in
Sam
one.
Rockwell. Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I would have liked to see a reoccurring villain that's not like Thanos or something.
Or like other people's. Yeah,
like
true.
like lower level villains that
Yes.
are always there. I like that in
Well, like the
serial
idea,
movies.
Well, eventually when they get the rights to it, I mean they have the rights now, but eventually when they start building it up, they might be able to do a Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom has that ability. Are you familiar with the Doctor Doom mythos?
No.
The lore of Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is actually the king or fucking whatever, ruling dictator, or ruling. I think he's royalty actually of a country called Latveria. It's obviously made up.
Yeah,
It's
no,
Latvia
I know.
plus
Yeah.
Bavaria.
Yeah.
So he's protected by diplomatic immunity. So he keeps getting let out. So like he goes back to Latveria all the time. He never gets. Every time they don't kill him, he just gets arrested. They send him back there, and he plots to rule the world from Latveria. So like in multiple comics, people have like shown. I read a Captain America comic recently, where Captain America needs help, so he like crosses the border to Latveria and has to ask Doctor Doom for help because there's a bigger problem, and Doctor Doom helps him. Like so, it'd be cool to have something like that. I understand exactly what you mean. I think, if I read my IMDb trivia properly, because our sources are so strong.
Our inside sources.
Yeah, our inside sources. That's what IMDb stands for. Inside movie dick business.
Yes, always dick business.
Totally. That's my third favorite
Dick
movie.
balls.
Dick balls business. Anyway, that the original plan was they wanted Stain to be his friend in the first one, then become a bad guy in the second or third one. They wanted to use like the Mandarin earlier. That probably would have been a cool thing to watch happen. But again, I think they didn't. I think they kind of were like, "Fuck this, we got to do something big. Like we have to get our twist out of the way now because we don't know if we'll get to make more of these."
Yeah.
But you're right. Like it would be cool. It would be cool to have kept some of them around. Like it would have been smart to have that for later movies. But it's hard to really shit on them for anything because they made the coolest fucking thing ever.
Oh no, I agree. I was saying for Jeff Bridges, I think he played a good character to keep.
Yeah, that is true. And there's something
because he's almost what is it, arch enemy or nemesis, where they're kind of equal at first because they were fighting for that business.
Yeah.
I think he would have just made a better character for overall, like in the third one instead of the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Because if you look at 3 movies as trilogies, usually the third movie goes back to the beginning.
Yes.
So they did that a little bit with the third one, how they go back to, that New Year's Eve or whatnot.
Yes, and he basically has to read.
Yeah.
Well, he basically has to re-become Iron Man. Has to kind of like go back to having nothing.
But I think if you go back and bring a villain from it would have just been better.
No, I understand what you mean. And I love the third one. Because I'm a diehard Shane Black apologist.
You have said that before. Yes.
I mean, I like the new Predator movie, and I admit the third act of that movie is fucking flaming.
Still haven't watched
garbage,
it yet,
but I like it because the first 2 acts are so Shane Blacky, and I like Shane Black doing stuff. The third one, though, I will say there was while the third one plays better as just a movie than it does as a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Because the whole shtick with the Mandarin not really being the Mandarin, that's funny when you watch it, and then but you look at the grander scheme, you're like, oh, that was a waste. Like the Mandarin is this bad motherfucker.
Use this amazing actor to play him.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they could have. Obviously, Tony Stark's dead now. They'll bring someone. Iron Man will not.
Well,
never
I've
be
heard that they're going to try to bring the Mandarin, the real Mandarin, in.
Yeah, and I think that'll hopefully happen. Whether it's the kid from the third one that takes over as Iron Man, because I have a huge boner for the fact that he popped up in Endgame.
Yeah.
Or the daughter, or whatever they do, or someone else, or however they do it.
Well, Pepper's gone. She said she's.
Yeah, I mean, and Rhodey's still out there doing stuff. But whatever they end up doing with that, there's always room to really bring back the Mandarin and just very easily go like, oh, that guy was just playing the role we painted. I'm the real man.
Yeah.
It's easy. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, and like you said, it's funny you said great actor, right? Like there is a thing with these movies where, especially in the beginning, when they didn't think they were going to make a ton of them, they kind of like wasted actors sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bridges popped up and it's only in one movie. Yeah, right. Like it'd be really cool to have had Jeff, no matter who he was playing, just have Jeff Bridges around long.
Yeah.
you know. And there's other people I've seen these flicks where like when they do like cameos, you get kind of disappointed because you're like, oh no, now you can't.
Yeah, now you can't be a starring
Yeah,
role.
you can't
in
be a
this.
real thing. Like, you know, even to the point where like, you know, there was always that, you know, we almost didn't have Chris Evans as Captain America because he played shitty Johnny Storm in the shitty Fantastic Four movies. I think only you like.
I was gonna say I like those.
Yeah, and I mean, I can only hope that, you know, again, like take Michael B. Jordan for it. I've said this again because I don't love Black Panther as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
As great as a job, as great of a job as he did, I'm kind of pissed because like fucking now he's not there anymore. Like you can't bring him back as someone else. You can't have him do something else. And Michael B. Jordan is the fucking man. Like
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's why aren't they trying to bring him as Superman? Isn't
there's
that
been
like a
rumors
rumor?
that they want him to be Superman. If they do, I'm cool with that. Like
I'm great with that. I think he was the best part of Black Panther to me.
I was rooting for him the entire
Yeah.
time. I would have preferred if instead of killing him, it would have been a way better way to me. You keep him alive.
Yeah.
You put that dude on some weird Wakandan fucking suspended animation prison shit, and you can bring that dude back and have him be a, you know, retcon some shit and bring him back later, a la Winter Soldier. But you know, I think Killmonger doesn't ever have that arc in the comics.
Yeah.
But you can they fudge shit all the time. You can switch it up and have him be somebody, you know. But it's just, you know, he's such a talented guy. There's not to go off on a tangent and go into DC. But, you know, there's always the argument, I think we talked about this before, the whole, like, well, Clark Kent's white. Like, I
They
disagree.
changed Nick Fury in the comics
To match the movie.
to
yeah.
match Samuel Jackson.
And it's funny, like, there's times where stuff like that makes sense to me, and there's times where it doesn't. Like, it never makes sense to me from obviously the perspective of like, well, I can't have black people. What do you fucking don't be a shitty racist anyway, you know? But I get sometimes when a character's iconically has a look, and then you're if there's cognitive dissonance, like you're like, oh no, that's not.
Well, that's what people had a problem with in Doctor Strange with what's her name being the ancient one.
Yeah, exactly.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Is her name?
And as talented as she is, I was like, oh, that's an Asian dude in the comics.
I think she played the
She
part
did a
pretty
great
well.
job, but like, and there's that moment where you're like, oh, it should have been supposed to be an Asian dude. What the fuck are we watching here? Like, you know. But I think the answer, it really is, it doesn't matter who plays any of these parts, so long as they're that talented. Because the moment, you know, if someone was like, whatever, insert guy who I don't like that much. Sorry, Columbus Short, you're not a lot of stuff anymore. If someone was like, we're thinking about Columbus Short for Clark Kent, I'd be like, oh, fucking, that's not Clark Kent.
Yeah.
But someone said Michael B. Jordan, I was like, that's fucking Clark Kent. Like, doesn't matter if you know what I mean? Like, it's just a matter of talent. Like,
Yeah.
you could fucking have Denzel Washington play a fucking bookcase and it'd be like the best bookcase ever.
He's not a football. He's a football coach.
Jesus Christ, or the Easter Bunny. He's just a football coach. You know, it doesn't matter. I hope I don't sound like an asshole, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it just proves none of it matters. It matters how talented the actor is.
Well, just take what they just announced that Robert Pattinson is going to be. Pattinson.
Pattinson Bear, yeah.
Pattinson or Patterson?
Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Yeah, Paddington's the bear.
Oh, okay. That guy.
I love
Twilight.
that bear.
Twilight.
That's a great bear.
Twilight douche.
Yes.
Is going to be Batman.
Yes.
Which I think is a horrible decision. Maybe they saw something in an audition that we haven't seen.
I've heard,
but
from what I understand, between Twilight and now, Robert Pattinson has been like blazing a trail of being like this super talented low key actor. I haven't seen anything he's been in, not because I don't. Yeah. I just whatever, it just hasn't got my radar. So maybe he's great. I don't think
he's going to be twinkling like in.
I hope
Twilight.
not. I don't like his jaw for Batman. Like he doesn't look like.
No, very true. He doesn't. Yeah. How is he going to look in that mask with that?
Yeah, he just doesn't look like Batman to me.
Although Michael Keaton didn't have a very
true.
Pronounced.
Yeah, it's just I think the answer to a lot of this stuff is, again, we're not good at getting political. We always sound like either like assholes or like apathetic people who don't give a shit. But
yeah.
I think the answer to any of this, any recasting, whether it's race, gender, look, like same look, like whatever the fuck it is it's the same thing as I always tell friends who like, I have buddies who are like, I don't know if I want to have kids ever, and it's like, well, it's because you haven't met the girl that makes you want to have kids yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't want a Chinese guy to play Spider-Man until you meet the right Asian dude, and you're like, oh my god, that's fucking Spider-Man. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't want a woman playing a part until you see the woman who can play that part. Like, you don't want whatever. Like, it's nothing makes sense until talent's there. And I'm not saying there's not a ton of talented people out there, obviously, of every race, creed, whatever, gender, all of it. My point is, it's very easy to dismiss stuff when you don't have when it's just an idea, people tend to be more dismissive than when you give them like the realness. You know what I mean? Like the actual truth of what it's going to be. It's the same thing as when it's like when you take some like shitty fucking hateful homophobe dude and he's like, I don't like the gays, and then his son's gay and he's like, well, except for Steven. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, dude's perfectly fine with everything. People are fucking dumb and resistant to change.
Yeah.
And they're going to be dumb and resistant to change until you show them like that until they see the change works. So I don't know the fuck I'm even going with this.
I don't know either.
Michael B. Jordan's going to hopefully he's Clark Kent because he's going to be fucking awesome at it.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba should be James Bond. I'm not going to fucking drop that. If the next James Bond, I don't even like James Bond, I'll go, if you fucking stick either Idris Elba or fucking Tom Hiddleston in that part, I will show the fuck up and watch those movies.
They would be pretty good.
Yeah. I'll sit there and watch it.
Daniel Craig was pretty good.
I just don't like James Bond movies, but I like Idris Elba. I'll watch that.
Did you like Layer Cake?
Yeah.
He's the same character.
Whatever. My point is, I would watch Idris Elba fucking paint a deck for 2 hours and be like, man, that guy really got to believe in that deck. You know,
that guy's
like,
handsome
that guy's
and
so
he can build a deck.
So handsome. He built that deck so well. Like, I'd watch that movie all day. Idris Elba, if you're listening, you want to make a project? I have a project idea for you.
Build my deck.
I'll build it with you. We could do it together. It'll be awesome. Anyway, so yeah, it's fucking. What are we even talking about anymore?
Well, I started talking about Jeff Bridges and villains and continuity, keeping villains.
And then I went on a tirade where I thought I accidentally sounded racist, so I over-explained myself for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, like you normally do.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. I love everybody. People are awesome. Like, just everybody should fucking hug each other more. Like,
well,
that's
going with that, like how they need to have other people playing terrorists than the same like 12 people in Hollywood. Like Farhan Tahir.
That poor bastard.
He's amazing. I think he's an amazing actor. He's right now. He is my Richard Tyson, by the way.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
That guy's good. He's good at stuff, though.
Yeah. But they have the same people. It's like the same like 6 Spanish people playing gang members.
Yeah, like Saeed Tagamuz. I can't say his last name. That guy's like super great, and he was the guy in Three Kings.
Yeah,
that plays the torturer.
Yep.
That poor guy always gets casted as like Middle Eastern man number 7, like a character who doesn't have an actual name, but his only characteristic is Middle Eastern guy. Like, it sucks. That shouldn't be that fucking way. None of this shit should be that way. Whatever. We're out of our depth here. I think this is not what we talk about. We're getting too serious.
Well, I was talking about Farhan Tahir.
I mean, he's a talented guy. You're going to reveal? Are we revealing Richard Tyson's with 20 minutes left?
I just wanted to let it known.
I mean, clearly that's who your Tyson is.
Yeah, I just said it.
Mine's Jon Favreau.
Okay.
Because I don't think Jon Favreau gets enough credit as leading man. So clearly he's more of a character guy. He's behind the scenes. And again, I will point out, Jon Favreau is responsible for the damn Marvel Universe. We have none of this without Jon Favreau fucking yelling at people and being like, we need to make this fucking movie.
He's the wild man.
Who's the wild man now? Fucking, you know who I always think is in other stuff and isn't? Roland Steele.
Who's that?
The cornerback from Rudy. Every time I watch him, I'm like, oh, that guy's been...
His friend?
The first guy, the cornerback. He's the All-American. He walks and puts his jersey down. The first guy to put his jersey down. Yes. Roland, you're an All-American. You're a team captain. Act like. And he goes, I believe I am. That guy?
Yeah.
That guy's not in a lot of stuff. I always think he is. Nope. Yeah. I look at him like, oh, he's handsome. He should be. That's how my brain works. I'm like, you're good looking. You did good there. You probably act all the time. Like, I have a ton of notes that I haven't even fucking looked at, which is kind of funny.
For the first time, you have more notes than me.
I have a whole ton of notes. I'll tell you this. Talking about starting the MCU. Really, his cellmate is the key to the whole fucking thing.
Sean Taub?
Yeah, without that guy, none of this happens. That motherfucker is really, everybody talks about the rat in Endgame. This dude starts it all.
Hold on. What rat in Endgame?
If the rat never steps on the button, Ant-Man never
comes out. That's what that meme is about.
That whole shtick, yeah. Okay. It's like blaming my parents getting divorced on the fucking landlord from my old apartment. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 86 steps back. But this guy really does. He fucking saves Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man would be dead if he didn't stick that fucking thing in his chest, and if he didn't inspire Iron Man to fucking get out of there. Because Tony Stark's gonna fucking quit.
Yep.
And that motherfucker's like, stop being a bitch, Tony Stark,
Yeah.
and let's do this. And that's literally what catalyzes the entire Marvel universe, is this dude telling Tony Stark not to be a bitch. And he dies again under someone dies too quickly, in and out of the movie, way too fast. And then unfortunately never really mentioned again. Like, when Tony Stark comes back, he utters the famous cheeseburger line, which the little girl says in the Endgame. He sits down, eats the cheeseburger, explains how he saw people die. He never really mentions that guy again, and I always thought it was a missed opportunity to have him rally behind something.
That's true.
Because that dude's his homeboy, and he clearly is affected by his death.
Yeah.
Whatever. That first suit he wears is amazing too.
I love that.
Clearly, that thing's practical. That thing's not. I mean, I'm sure they touched it up, but that thing's awesome. I don't know how much of the suit's practical in real life.
It's the Iron Giant.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started. You know how much I love the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks. That's happening someday.
When Craig cries on air.
I'll definitely cry in air. I cry thinking about that movie. Oh my god, so good. And yeah, even like the first suit, that first Iron suit, I have written it's like realistic within this universe. Like they do such a good job of like ramping it up that the first suit he makes isn't that strong. Like
yeah,
it's just like him covered in steel with like fucking, what do you call it, like spindles and shit and pulleys basically running it, and like outboard motors like making Gatling noises as they go. And even my wife sat down watching it. She hadn't seen this movie ever, and she loved it. And she's like, oh, she was a little in the beginning. She's like, this seems a little unrealistic. And I was like, no, it doesn't. Like I explained. And then she's like, is he going to fly now? I was like, no, he's not. He's just going to launch himself out like a rocket, like an asshole. And it's accurate. He doesn't have it down at first. And I appreciate that I feel like this is the kind of character you need to see his origin story, because it's so even within this universe, it's insane, right?
Well, just because I like it, you need to see it because he's a scientist, and you don't succeed on your first try. He never succeeded on his first. He's not superhuman. He's just a super smart man who learns from his mistakes.
Yes. And it's just...
So like when he freezes, when he goes up with his...
Yeah, exactly.
He fixes that problem.
Exactly. And I think that... it's just, I think it's important to see Iron Man's origin of all... Spider-Man, everyone knows Spider-Man. It's such a coincidence. I mean, I hope at some point, again, I know this is dumb and everybody goes complains they want to see Spider-Man. How many times can we see Uncle Ben die?
Yeah.
I feel like it's weirdly never been mentioned, and I think they're trying to stuff Tony Stark in as Uncle Ben, even though it's after the fact.
Okay. You think that he's the catalyst for
him becoming a greater superhero and all?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that
I
theory.
would liken I'm assuming that Tom Holland, and the big assumption all the other nerds like me make, is that he likes this role so much and he's so young that we might get this kid playing this part for the next 15, 20 years.
I think so.
Because he's always going to get paid. Like, just, yes, do one every 2 years, do whatever the fuck you want, and come back and make these movies.
I don't think
right?
he's so young where he's not just into the money right now.
Yeah,
he's
just
into
happy.
The role.
He likes being Spider-Man. He likes going to see kids. He likes
revealing spoilers.
Yeah, he actually fucking spoils movies all the time. They didn't actually tell him whose funeral. You heard that story?
Yeah.
They told him it was a wedding.
Yep.
You know why he's supposed to cry in the scene?
Yep.
I would like to see them at some point in one of the Spider-Man movies. Give me 5 minutes in the opening credits where you explain that Uncle Ben died and it helped, because I think that's such an important part. I don't need the whole movie where he becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But we need our audience to
where
understand.
at least he talks to Aunt May and there's some exposition about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh well, you know how Uncle Ben died. And
yeah, exactly. You need the audience. Uncle Ben deserves that shine of every generation knowing about him. But you don't have to show that much Spider-Man origin. You don't have to show that much Captain America origin. Like, you only need, like, Captain America First Avenger, his origin's the first 15, 20 minutes, His
whole origin is just to say, hey, this is a Infinity Stone.
What I mean is, you need to see that Captain America was a skinny little dude and he got by on his heart. Like, that's all important. But that you can knock that out in 20 minutes. Like, Iron Man needed to be an hour and a half origin movie because, like you said, he's a scientist. You need to see that process. You need to see him fuck up. You need to it's such a bigger, like, you can explain away the end Captain America, right? Like,
I feel when you're dealing with superheroes, with one that's like Batman, Iron Man, people who are relying on their mind over their super strength or superpowers, you need to see how they're a practical person. You need to see that. You don't need to see, oh, he just, got bit by a spider, or now he's a Spider-Man. No, but you do need to see the Uncle Ben part to explain why he is
Yeah.
the person he is.
Exactly. You need to know that. But
Yeah.
I'm saying with Iron Man is like, yeah, exactly. And you need to see that Captain America was a skinny little dude. He understands. He's really at heart. He's one of us that's become powerful. But my point is, you can explain away so much about what goes on with Spider-Man, right? Because radioactive spider, how to get radioactive? I don't fucking know. Scientists, right? You can say like Captain America, I become Captain America. Doctor, whatever his name is, fucking made the thing, injected him. Cool. Iron Man made his shit himself. So like, you can't just have it go from like no Iron Man to like if the first suit he made was the final, was like the Mark IV.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking dumb. No one's that smart. Like, it doesn't work. He's one dude making all this shit. You need to see him fuck up a bunch of times. And with that, added to that, pseudo-related, if you wanted to just going back to the idea of how good of an eye they had for building this universe already, in the fucking opening credits of the movie, when they're doing, like, not opening, opening salve of the film, when they're talking about, Tony Stark, Boy Wonder, right? When they show the picture of him, when he's a kid, do you know what's right next to him in the picture?
No.
The dummy arm.
The dummy?
The arm that always fucks up and sprays him.
Oh.
That arm's always, that's the first thing he built.
Oh, okay.
That was his first, like, robotics project, and he kept it and kept trying to improve, but it was always fucked up, so he keeps it around.
Uh-huh.
Even that level of world building, where they thought to shove that fucker in the picture in the beginning, and then have it keep coming back throughout the movie, and I think it's in, I want to say he pops up in the other movies, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like, that alone is better foresight, and even, like, just, I can't stress enough, like, the first act of this movie, to me, maybe other than the Dark Knight, which I don't think ages that well, it's fucking Dark Knight, like, now kind of, other than Heath Ledger being wonderful, it's kind of like watching, like, Hot Topic the movie at this point. Like, it's just very dour and super emo and so many, and it's, like, so, like, nihilistic, like, and fucking everyone dies and everything sucks. I'd argue that the first act of Iron Man is better than just about almost any other superhero movie that ever came before it. The first act alone is like, it just functions better as a superhero movie than anything else that ever happened before. Better than any of the Spider-Mans, to me, better than most of the, other than Superman 1 maybe, fucking better than all the Batmans to me. Like, that first act is just, they did it right. Like, I almost can't believe we didn't think it'd be that big of a thing. Because you look at it now, you're like, oh shit, they had this, like, Favreau and fucking RDJ figured this shit out from day one.
Yeah.
like those motherfuckers understood what they were doing from the moment they started this, and they deserve as much as anyone in film. I get, like, I get it, people are overpaid for shit, but they're not really, if it's based on capitalism. Like,
yeah.
As
the
much
amount
as
of money brought in.
Yeah, exactly. As much as anyone deserves $75 million movie, Robert Downey Jr. does, because that motherfucker, fucking him and Favreau just, like, literally, he created Tony Stark himself, basically, and Favreau created this whole universe, just fucking, like I said, just dragged it out, and it's, fuck. Sorry, I'm freaking, I'm blowing this movie so hard. But, like I said, I got a ton of notes. I just can't, like, crossing things out, because, fuck. What about segues? Speaking of segues, I'm just looking at my notes now.
Actual segues?
There's an actual segue in this movie.
Is there?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna segue into that. And it's one of those things where I'm convinced it was meant as a joke and they left it in. When they show up at the factory, Obadiah Stane comes segueing over, like, looking like Paul Blart. And I was watching, I was like, is that a fucking segue? Is that a supervillain riding a Segway? Like,
They couldn't get a unicorn.
I wish they had a unicorn. I like this movie. It even does a great job of making me like Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, I usually like her.
I think she's wonderful in these movies. I never doubt her talent as an actress. I find her to be, I don't know her personally, even slightly, so I'm not her friend. I'm sure there's plenty of people that love her in this world. Cool. My opinion of her public image, I find it annoying.
Okay.
And grating. But she's great in these movies. She spits fucking hot fire at Leslie Bibb in the beginning.
Yes.
Holy shit. She's like, I do everything for Mr. Stark, including take out the trash. here's your car. Like, oh shit, she called you a gutter snipe. Like, fuck. Yeah, and she's great in these movies. You understand the relationship so well, like how she's so different than every other woman that's ever been around him.
Yeah.
Everyone, including his stewardesses. I don't fully understand how that works. Like, that doesn't seem like something anyone does, but I guess he just hired strippers to be his stewardesses. I guess you have to reverse engineer that.
Yeah.
You can't get stewardesses
And then make them strippers?
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to find
if he has enough money and he might.
I mean, anyone's a stripper for the right amount of money, I guess, but myself included. I'm naked right now, but
no, he's not.
And don't listen to him, folks. He has bad eyesight. Gotta look real closely if you know what I'm saying. Small penis joke. Anyway, you definitely have to reverse engineer that, right? You go because you're not gonna your odds are you're not gonna find model level women who want to be stewardesses on your private plane because they have stuff to do. And then added to which you are then not going to
You can train a stripper to be a stewardess, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying it's easier.
So are you degrading stewardesses?
No, okay. Not at all. Not at all. What I'm saying is the obvious play from a not getting sued for sexual harassment standpoint is
hiring strippers first.
You don't go through the trouble of, there's plenty of lovely stewardesses in this world, but to find model level looking any humans, there's not a ton of them. So you don't go through the trouble. You go through every stewardess on the freaking planet. You're telling him like you're going to work this job where I don't know how much he's a billionaire, so how much he's paying, but he's not flying enough that like these women aren't working every day. So they have other gigs now, right? They're doing other stuff with their time. They're not showing up to work, just hanging out by that plane every day. So he's not going to get a really good stewardess because they're flying the international to Tokyo every day. They live in that stewardess life and getting paid OT. So you can't do that. So let's say if you get them, now you have to hope and pray that when you say, hey, I need part of this job is occasionally dancing half naked while my friend and I drink in front of you. I'm sure most of the people then leave the room after that one. So you have to go the opposite way and go like, hey, let's get some exotic dancers.
Yeah.
And say, I will pay, I'll match your exotic dancing pay for the weekend.
Hey, do you want to come dance in front of me on my plane?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, do you want to serve me drinks too?
Yeah, he's a great tipper. He gave that to a hundo when he orders those 2 drinks at the party. I noticed that because I'm a weirdo and I stare at things like that. He threw down a hundo. That was an open bar. I mean, throwing down a hundo at an open bar, that's a baller. I mean, he's Tony Stark. Still a baller move. Hundo's a big tip from anybody.
That's a very nice tip.
Very nice tip.
Hopefully he's not splitting the tips because then that'd suck.
Don't get me started on my feelings about pooling tips.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all for paying out your bar backs. I was a bar back.
Yeah.
You pay out who does the work for you. You give them a staunch percentage as long as they do their job.
Yeah.
But if I'm showing up to work, if I'm a waiter and I have 12 pieces of flair and I'm pumping you full of extra mozzarella sticks and convincing you to stay for happy hour and have half price margs, and fucking high school Steve over there with his pimple face spends half his shift on his fucking cell phone, fucking Snapchatting his friends and gets all everybody's food wrong, I shouldn't have to give him any of my dole.
Nope.
That's not how life works. That's basically communism.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're anti-pooling tips, folks. We're making for the record, just for those who are listening, who are counting, who are taking notes. I stumbled over explaining I'm not a racist for 7 minutes of the show when I'm a Puerto Rican man with a lesbian mother, and I still had I had to sit here explaining, and a blind father,
half Jew Puerto Rican,
a half Jewish Puerto Rican man who had literally
blind one-legged father.
A blind one-legged father. None of this is made up, right? None of this is made up. Instead, I took the trouble. I had that much trouble explaining how I'm not a hate monger.
But you have no problem calling people who want to split tips communists.
But I was able to explain my views on pooling tips being a communist fucking action very succinctly in about 30 seconds. Welcome to this podcast, new listeners. I love that scene when they replace the reactor. That's a great one.
I like that too.
And again, I feel like that's a nice show note, not tell moment.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever, it's in 3 minutes you get why you understand their whole love story.
Mm-hmm.
in 3 fucking minutes of screen time. You don't need a ton of exposition. Nothing is explained during that scene other than you see his personality, you see her personality, you see how they play against each other, you see how much she actually cares about him, what she's willing to really do for him, and that she's the only person he really trusts.
Yeah.
Her and Rhodey are it. He literally says, "Hey, can you assist me in heart surgery?" Basically,
Yep.
And she's like, "Yeah, I got you. I'm on it." And he's like, "Oh, I totally have faith in you. You're cool. You can do this. You know." It's a great job on that.
Just don't pull out that thing.
Oh, so what's that sound? Oh, my heart. Was it my heart just stopped?
Yeah.
That's okay. My heart just stopped. I got a wife quote for you.
Do you?
Yes, for the first time that Tony Stark pops on screen, and he's being rude to everybody. My wife's initial quote was, "Tony Stark seems like a real douchebag." She went on to fall in love with him as everyone does. Favreau lost like 70 pounds, I think, this movie, which is cool.
Yeah, he celebrated getting the job by losing 60 or 70 pounds.
Because he gets progressively
Bigger?
larger,
Yeah.
more robust throughout the films. I prefer Iron Man 2 Favreau
Okay.
because that's a power bulky Favreau.
Uh-huh.
That's like a closer to, let's say, like when he played Rocky Marciano Favreau.
Okay.
A made Favreau, like you think he could punch you in the face real fucking hard.
Yeah.
But he could probably run at least a mile if you need him to. By 3 and later, like Spider-Man, that's a Favreau that's he's stopping every flight of stairs. That's not the Favreau I need for these movies. You want another wife quote? Possibly my favorite one in the history of our show.
Yeah.
I don't usually like this kind of thing, but this Iron Man character is pretty badass.
I can picture her saying that.
Yep. Do you think, what was the gentleman's name who you gave your preemptive
Ferran Tahir?
Richard Tyson to? Yeah. Do you agree that he dies too early?
Yes.
I don't like that he went out with a fizzle fart.
I feel like because you have the whole reveal of Jeff Bridges being the quote unquote true bad guy in it, I think they should have kept him around longer or they should have hinted more towards Jeff Bridges being there. Like there should have been more with both characters.
I think
if you have him come at the end, it would have been really interesting. So it was my idea to keep Jeff Bridges around in the universe a little longer. Have this guy show up in the other suit instead of Jeff Bridges, because then you could kill this guy and keep Jeff Bridges.
I could not agree with you more. As you started saying,
and that would be the true, like, holy shit, they were working together the whole time. They planned on killing me.
Exactly. And it would have been, again, you never, like we keep saying, maybe they probably thought they weren't going to ever do one of these again.
Yeah.
And I guess if you have Jeff Bridges and he's a villain in the comics, you make Jeff Bridges the bad guy.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it was set up perfectly to have that dude come with Jeff Bridges. He becomes the Ironmonger. He fights the big battle at the end. Stark knows that Jeff Bridges is behind it, but can't prove shit.
Yeah.
And they kind of have this weird, like, it ends with, like, or he does, it ends with that power struggle, him behind the scenes, like, they're kind of shaking hands and they know something's up. Like, Tony's like, I know this motherfucker got this shit from somewhere.
Yeah.
That would have been great. And again, it allows you to keep Jeff Bridges alive, Obadiah Stane running around the world still. But, it's not like they fucked it up after this. But talking about more how great they did with building this world, even that moment, I want to say it's Avengers is where they kill off Coulson, right? Then he comes back for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spoiler on the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from 7 years ago. Remember the running bit in Avengers was, why the hell does Pepper know so much about Coulson?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he has the cellist, and
they're like supposedly friends or something.
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck's it?
Yeah.
This movie fucking sets it up. I never noticed till watching this time. When he's like, when you gonna have time for this interview? And she says right now because she's trying to run.
Yeah.
They're together for hours after that.
Yeah.
Like, he saves her ass, and they fucking, that relationship starts then. Like, that's when they become friends. And you don't notice again because you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
But you go back and watch it, and it's there. And also, Pepper saves the day a lot in these movies.
Oh yeah.
She fucking, she's unsung. Obviously, it's an Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
But she blows the reactor in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen the second one once. I'm going to rewatch it. I remember being terrible, but I'm going to give it another shot soon.
Mickey Rourke.
I mean, I love Mickey Rourke. He loves dogs. I appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie ain't good.
Yeah.
The third one, she flat out saves the day.
Yep.
Because she like dick kicks Guy Pearce and beats the fuck out of everybody.
Well, yeah.
And then she pops up and has his back in Endgame. So she does a lot more superhero heavy lifting than she definitely than she did in the comics.
Yeah.
And definitely than anybody expected her to do. And I think, as we have the first, like I said, we had the first Easter egg. We said that earlier. I have one more, what I think is a big thing to point out that I will point out every time probably we do a Marvel movie, which is, what, at heart, I'm like a big dumb hippie. And as I explained before during my I'm not a hate monger speech, I really just want, like, I'm one of those people, I don't know where I'm going with this, folks. We're both
I don't
tired.
either.
I'm one of those people who believes, I believe in the military, I believe in all that stuff. I understand, war is part of human nature, all that shit, right? But at heart, I'm one of those people who just wants everybody to fucking hug and, like, to be happy. Like, I hate seeing, like, you watch stuff with me. I can't watch the preview for a scary movie because I feel bad for the character in a movie that's not real getting killed. I get all sad.
Yeah.
I get, like, genuinely depressed.
Yeah, you can't watch horror movies.
Yeah, I can't watch horror movies. Not because I'm afraid. Because I literally, he's my best friend for 25 years. I get, like, openly sad when people get murdered in horror movies. I'm like,
Yep.
Oh, no, Jason, those kids were so young. I don't get, like, the, like, oh, man, what a kill. I get, like, sad. I want everybody to be happy and fucking love each other and everybody to hold hands and fucking everybody to put their nukes away. I fucking want all that. So, like, the thing about these Marvel movies that people don't point out enough that gets me right in the fucking goodies is they're all inevitably there's always a moment almost every single one of these movies where you realize that the thing that saves the hero is, like, their love for their fellow being.
Mm-hmm.
This one,
Their humanity.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's such a fucking important thing to have in films that not enough. We've talked about this before. I don't watch Game of Thrones because I think I fucking shit on Batman. I don't like the nihilistic viewpoint the world is people have embraced in recent years, more so in recent years, of, like, everything's fucking sad. It doesn't have to be that way. And I genuinely don't appreciate that. And I really love that there's these moments in all these movies where, like, the day is saved by love, and fucking right down the point where I know I tear up at dumb shit. But I'm like getting misty almost thinking about it. When Tony hits the ground, and Stain injects him with fucking plays the whatever and fucking shuts his shit off, and pulls his fucking ostensibly pulls his heart out of his chest.
Yep.
And he's gonna die. He crawls across the floor, right? And I think to me this is the best moment in this whole fucking movie. And I forgot it happened. When I watched it last week, I felt like I teared up. He's crawling across the floor, and that fucking arm shows up, and again he crawls. He realizes that he has the fucking. I'm sorry. He realizes he has the old reactor because Pepper saved it for him because she fucking loves him no matter what they admit in this movie because they love each other. She saves him. She saves his heart. He's like, God, let's fucking throw it down. She doesn't want to do that because she cares about him so much. She wants to give him a gift, so she fucking has it made into a little thing that says Tony Hart. Proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Saves it. He realizes it's there. He goes to get it. He can't reach it. His arms won't work. And when that fucking arm drops, and you realize that, like, this was the thing that the kid he made when he was a kid that every other scientist would have thrown out years ago. Would have fucking parted that shit for fucking, would have burnt that thing to fucking pieces and used it for parts, right? But he's saved because he's actually, deep down, he has love in his heart, despite the fact he's this shallow character who's, we don't know this from these movies. You learn it later throughout the series.
Yeah.
That he's just hurt and he misses his family and his parents died when he was younger and he loves his dad and he never understood his parents and he was raised by the butler basically, and this dude who his uncle who he fucking tried to kill him. You know what I mean? This guy has a true heart deep down, and the fucking arm shows up, and the arm it's a fucking computer, but it's programmed to give a shit about him or whatever however the fuck it works.
Yeah.
Whatever movie magic we're talking here. He's saved by love. Like, the fucking arm comes down, the fucking
Yep.
The anthropomorphic arm that he fucking keeps around because he cares about it, even though it's a fucking computer arm, drops down, clamps the little thing that the love of his life saved for him, and pops it back in his chest for him. It gives him his heart back.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't, again, spoiler alert for when we do Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, every time I watch that movie, because now I'm just going to go on a slight Marvel tangent. Like, at the end of that movie, you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy enough times to.
Yeah.
When fucking Quill grabs the fucking Infinity Stone, he's going to die. And then Gamora grabs him. And then fucking Drax grabs him. And then fucking Rocket grabs him. I always, every time I watch that movie, my wife laughs because she knows I'm about to yell it. I go, he's being saved by the power of friendship and love. Fuck you. And I scream at the screen. Because that's the message of all these fucking movies. That's the message of fucking the last one of Endgame that no one fucking talks about. Is it's Tony Stark, all these movies, all these people just recognizing that there's like that the human race is still worth it and they love each other, they love people. And Tony Stark doesn't fucking snap an Endgame for everyone. He snaps an Endgame because he has a little girl at home that he loves.
Yeah.
And because he loves Peter Parker, and Peter Parker came back, and he loves Pepper, and like, that's what you think about. Like, you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
Yeah.
When fucking Michael Caine explains, like, we couldn't get people to look past themselves.
Yep.
Like, everyone just looks at what's around them. Like, it was him. That's kind of true. Like, you don't save the world because you care about no matter who you are. Like, it's really hard to save the world because some dude in England might die. You save the world because you care about your kid. You save the world, and that's fine. Like, it keeps expounding. It just keeps expanding out and out and out. Like, that's the theme of all these fucking movies. Is that love will fucking save the day, man. Like, and that's just fucking huge to me. And that makes these movies infinitely wonderful. And I think, like, I don't give a shit that fucking robots kick each other in the nuts. And it's my 2-year-old isn't gonna fucking grow up and beat up another kid in the playground because Iron Man fucking punched a robot in the face. Like, that's not fucking logical. I don't give a shit what anybody says. But I truly believe that, like, 12-year-olds sitting around watching fucking sad fucking shit where the fucking dragon eats everybody because nothing matters and cousins fuck each other and everybody stabs each other in the asshole because they want a fucking crown. I truly believe that fucking jacks with your brain a little more and makes you, like, just sad and nihilistic and fucking mopey. Like, this is what our children should be fucking watching.
Of
like,
course.
This is why comics exist. This is why the fucking Bible exists. It's to give us the Torah, the Quran, all that stuff. Everything exists to give people a set of values, whether it's a religious fucking text or a comic book or a fucking Huck Finn. It's to give you values and explain to you that this is what you should live your life for. And I'll get off my fucking soapbox now, I guess, but that means so much to me that's the point of this movie, you know. And Pepper does that. Pepper should have been fucking miles away, but she fucking stuck around because she fucking loves Tony.
Yep.
You know. And fuck everybody, man. Like, that's how it should be. Love, like, fucking, I believe, like, fucking that guy said, love is the answer. Love will find a way. I don't remember who sang that.
Love will find a way.
Yeah, wasn't that the same guy who sang Leonardo?
Leonardo.
She likes me for me.
We need James for that.
Yeah, James loves that fucking song. You gotta bring him back.
Not because I feel like Liberace.
We need to, like, if we don't title episodes very often. This is like the emotional journey of Craig from, I guess I was a racist earlier to now I'm a lover. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Craig is he's got some hormone imbalance.
I got 2 kids, folks. I got 2 kids now. I just, fuck you guys, man. Like, life is, the world should be built on fucking smiles and high fives, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Love your fellow man. This might be the last time anyone listens to this fucking show.
I think so. Might be the last time I listen to it.
Yeah, go find, I don't give a fuck if your neighbor's taller than you, shorter than you, fucking purple, brown, black, male, female. Go fucking hug them, man, because that's what the world's about. Love each other and live off love and fucking punch Thanos in the dick. Like, that's how the world should be. Whatever your Thanos is, fucking chop its head off and get those fucking stones back. Snap it out of existence. I don't fucking know anything else left to say. This movie's fucking awesome. Go watch Iron Man. Maybe don't watch Iron Man 2.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, let's think it's about time Craig gets some sleep.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to our unedited and touching, heartwarming episode.
Fucking side note before we go, we're in Ron's basement, and this is also doubles as his children's play area, There is a doll on his couch that from here just looks like a dead body.
It is a dead body.
And it is bone chilling.
It's also a heavy doll. Here, feel this doll.
What the? Why would that be that heavy?
That's,
why does it look? Get the thing away from me! Christ.
it has eyes that,
oh my
when
God.
you move its head, the eyelids go up and
Oh
down.
my Lord.
It's very frightening.
My Lord.
Yeah.
I don't need to look at that. Why was that a? And why does your child have a toy over that looks like that thing from fucking Master of the Universe that with the white hair? Looks like a gremlin. that fucker that didn't do anything. What kind of toys are you giving
With the hook?
Yeah. What was that guy's deal?
I don't know.
Why'd he do nothing? He got beat up real fast too, right? He didn't even do shit.
No, he's hung around for a while.
I don't know. Maybe we might do that.
He just yelled at things and pointed. He's like, "Get her!" He's like, "Get her!" Just kept pointing.
I'm gonna guess that was a. I guess we're not in the show yet. I'm gonna guess that was a budget thing, like that suit probably wasn't very movable. Or they couldn't
It
shoot
was
it that
Canon
long.
Films.
So they were just like, all right, we're gonna spend all of our money on this costume, but you can't move in that costume. So then you're just gonna yell, "Go get her!" And then all these dudes not dressed in good costumes are gonna go do the action.
All these dudes dressed like stormtroopers are gonna.
like that thing where you put Bruce Willis in the movie, or you put like whoever, or like you get John Cusack, he shows up for the day, but he won't do that much. So he's like, "Go do the thing," and then the guy that's cheaper goes and does the thing.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's Canon Films. Anything's possible. We'll get to that one day.
Yeah, someday.
All right. Well,
someday, somehow, I'm gonna make it all right, but not right now.
is that like
That
Nickelback?
is Nickelback.
Never speak to me again.
That was, remember back in the day when you'd break up with somebody who play songs in their voicemail? That would go. Remember that was the thing that happened.
No.
Whatever. Fuck off. I just remember having issues with the girl and her playing on my voicemail. That did not work.
Okay. Yeah. No. That just makes you weird.
You know who did not play songs on my voicemail? My current wife. She made fun of me for that being a thing.
Well, you
My
said
current-
only if they broke up with you. So
Maybe I shouldn't say current wife. It makes it sound like I've had like 7 of them. My wife now and forever.
yes.
The wonderful woman who watched Iron Man with me
Yes.
and referred to Iron Man as this Iron Man character. Because she's a 1940s fucking hard-nosed detective.
She's adorable.
She's the best.
Leave her alone.
The best. She reared my demon children. So, all right, folks. Whatever. Go hug each other.
Make sure if you like us, give us some reviews, give us some ratings.
Please, if you like us even a little bit, throw up a 5-star. Because it's like 4 makes us look like dicks.
Yeah, throw up a 4. I'm fine with a 4.
Don't throw up a 2 or a 3. I feel like if you're throwing up a 1 or a 2, you're just used to.
Truthfully, if you throw up a 1, we'll talk about you. We'll read it on air. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. No,
it'd be interesting to hear it.
And please, someone tell us a movie to do.
Yeah, some feedback would be nice. But
You think I want to talk to Ron during the week and try to figure out what show we're gonna do? No, I don't.
Yeah,
I've been his friend for 25 years. He's terrible.
not that terrible.
You look great with the weight loss, though. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
20 something pounds down, folks.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ron's losing weight. I'm losing my mind. And we're all losing sleep. Have a good night, Dicks.